Some fungi live in symbiotic relationships, and we're going to talk about these because right now we're just trying to give you an idea of the type of roles that fungi can play in the environment. So we know that some of them are saprophytes, some of them are parasitic. All of our diseases that I gave you, those are parasitic. And then we have some that live in a symbiotic relationship. It's a mutualistic relationship. And a lot of times they do this with other photosynthetic partners such as algae. Cyanobacterium usually figures in. And then some of them are going to live on the roots of some plants. Now what's going on is the fungus, if it's in this it's a mutualistic relationship. Remember, that's where both parties benefit. That's the type of symbiosis that's going on here. So with the fungus is breaking down material and supplying the photosynthetic partner with minerals and nutrients. And of course, the photosynthetic partner is carrying out photosynthesis and supplying the fungus with the carbohydrates, which are glucose. So it's a very, very closely related symbiotic relationship that some of these fungus have. Very, very important, especially for the soil and for the roots of some trees. Now, other than yeast, fungi are going to be multicellular, and I'm going to show you what each of these hyphae look like, but the hyphae are these very, very long strands of cells. And some of them, if you look at them on a cellular basis, have got cross walls in between the cells, and some do not. If they have cross walls, they're called septate hyphae because the wall itself is called a septa. And the opening in the wall is called a pore. So this is what it looks like. Here's your septate hyphae. So you can see these areas right here are called septa or septum. And there is an opening in between called the pore. Well, that means that the contents of one cell is in the nutrients, and everything that gets broken down is able to flow from one cell to the next. It is the tips of these hyphae that end up breaking down the food and then absorbing it back. So once the minerals and the nutrients get absorbed back, they're free to flow through these septa walls, and those are called septate hyphae. Now here's a type of hyphae where there is no septa. And if there's no septa, then what's happening is everything is just flowing back and forth. So as we go through the fungi, I am going to mention types of hyphae, and if I say this is septate, then you know what I'm talking about is the hyphae actually has the cross walls. And if it's a choanocytic, that's how you say that name. Choanocytic means that it is lacking and that the nutrients and all the nuclei and contents of the cells are just flowing back and forth from one to the other. Now, looking at our mushroom here, you can see that each one of these long threads, that's a hyphae. When it gets below ground and it gets all tangled up together, this would be called a mycelium. And the hyphae reach down into the ground, and this portion that we're looking at above ground, this is just called the fruiting body. Now, the fruiting body just means it's the reproductive structure, so it's going to be the fruiting body that's actually releasing the spores. If this is a mushroom, which this fruiting body is called a basidiocarp. So the fruiting body's name changes from each phyla. But the true body of the fungus is not the reproductive body. The true body is lying here right beneath the soil, and it's called the mycelium. So this portion is just the fruiting body with the spores, but what we have here is the mycelium. These mycelia can stretch for a very, very long way, just like you saw that honey mushroom. The mycelia right under ground level stretches that 1,500 football fields. So they can be far reaching, and you could actually knock this down. We could knock this mushroom down, but that fruiting body can erupt from another mycelia. So in order to actually kill a fungus, you have to kill all of this mycelia, and this is where it makes it so hard for a parasitic infection to be cured, because if this were, let's say, ringworm, and this is your little bump right here, this is what you have all below your skin level. And so you can't just treat that little bump right here. You have to treat all of this tissue, because if you're just treating that, eventually that little bump is going to go away, but it can form other ones because the mycelia here is underneath your skin, and each one of these little hyphae are capable of breaking up a new fruiting body. So what we see of the fungus, whether it be the mushroom or whether it be the mold in your bathroom or the mold on an orange or anything like that, we are looking at the fruiting body. We are not seeing the mycelium, which is the true body of the fungus. And here they've blown this up. This right here is the mycelium. They've blown it up. You can see the individual hyphae that make up the mycelium. So each thread is a hyphae, and when it gets all jumbled up together, kind of looks like a hairball down there, then that's what's called the mycelium. Now, this just says your large mat of hyphae forms the mycelium, and these underground networks form the basis of the group of the fungi. So all fungi are different. We're going to have our yeast, and then we have our multicellular ones, but they all are made of hyphae, and then they have this network of mycelia right below ground level that we actually do not see.